Boom, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. I just wanted to, again, talk about this fool of a human being. The New York Post actually did a good job here. I'll read you their title because it's probably the only honest title I've seen for a while. Sam Bankman-Fried's crypto fraud joins the Hall of Shame with Madoff and Holmes, where they properly deserve that title for defrauding their investors for billions of dollars. Now, been reading through Sam's tweets, one of the first things that stands out is like, oh, this is just an accident. And a lot of the mainstream press, things like Forbes, the Wall Street Journal, they've clearly come out with nothing but fluff pieces. And we talked about this prior. Generally, if you see this level of malfeasance, the media attacks the individual very hard. And here, the softness is likely coming from the fact that they have their own trash to hide throughout this process. Now, there's been a lot of great breakdowns on where the money went, but one of the key things that stood out here is some of the breakdowns from the lawyers that says a substantial amount of the assets have been stolen or they're just missing. Now, in the earlier part of one of Sam's tweets, he's like, oh yeah, it was just a simple accounting error and we put some things over here and we thought they were over here, and that makes us not fraudsters, right? The problem is, good sir, if you don't do that stuff, that's what fraud is, as far as I can tell. Now, allegedly, lawyers would make sure I say that, because ultimately, if you do something that breaks the laws that are set out in the terms of service, especially with your customers, even if you're in the Bahamas, that's a big no-no. So the fact that we see Sam running around like a little hobbit to his penthouse in the Bahamas is another strange thing when you find out that Sam's parents, who are fucking teachers, somehow recently bought over $121 million in property. We actually see this all the time in politics. It's very confusing because you think to yourself, how does someone like Nancy Pelosi end up with a net worth of a few $100 million? They're politicians. They get paid like 200 grand a year. That's from favors. Favors for public political leaning in one way or direction that usually favors large-scale corporations, supranational corporations, corporations that effectively exist outside of the bounds of any single national law. And this is what FTX had set up. Multiple jurisdictions that all operate outside and in their own little unique area. What's difficult again here is how would you estimate that these parents who work as teachers, Stanford law professor, were signatories on these, signed on June 15th, and revealed that it was intended to use as a vacation home. So they were not only buying assets for family members with money they had stolen from investors, they were then spending it on things that had nothing to do with the business. This is another highly illegal thing to do, as far as I know, in business. The only way you can do it is if you could write it off as a business expense, which there are things you can do if it's, we got employees living here and da-da-da-da-da comes by. But a vacation home for your parents? That's not how this works, buddy bro. Doesn't matter what country you're in. I believe that breaks laws. Again, allegedly. I don't actually know here. So it also goes on to say, when asked by Reuters whether the vacation home was bought in cash or via FTX, a spokesperson for SBF parents said they have been trying to return the property to the exchange since before the bankruptcy proceedings. Like, oh, let's give this property back to FTX quickly. We don't want it anymore. So Mr. Bankman and Mrs. Fried have been seeking the return to the deed of the company and are waiting further instructions. So they probably knew something was up. They knew they were going to get caught in a huge global scandal of fraud and wanted to get out of there quickly. They realized that they shouldn't be taking money from your son's company to buy properties if the company is insolvent because of an accounting error. I mean, I thought that's what compliance and regulation was supposed to do. Meanwhile, you have two of these Stanford professors or whatever that focus on compliance law, and they miss what should be simple accounting. The fact that we keep seeing, the darling of the crypto altruistic universe is, when you see that, you have to assume that they're covering up their own trash and their own garbage, because it's the only reason you'd ever get an op-ed that sounds so goddamn biased. Anyways, this thing is just unimaginable to read through. So remember, boys and girls, if you want a nice penthouse mansion like this, all you got to do is work really hard, be super smart, be early to the ideas you like, and then steal billions of dollars from your investors, and you can have any home that you want and get away with it running like a floppy fucking hobbit down the roads of Albany in Bahamas. So that's weird. Anyways, just a quick little update. We'll be heading back to Costa Rica. Oh yeah, we've got just a few tickets left, so if you want to come down to the Costa Rican retreat, we'll be doing nice deep hours of meditation. We've got yoga, beautiful views of the ocean jungle. It'd be a great time to drop in and connect with community and build some of the deeper connections that are necessary to go through and build during this process. So we'd love to see you out there. If you guys have any comments or questions, you can email me at info@arcanebear.com, and we'll stay in touch. Just a quick little update. I'll do more of these while while we head back home, because it's not that difficult. I love you, appreciate you. We'll see you on the next one.